intakes for the R32 GTR twin turbo kit. We'd originally done intakes for the old kit. I say the old kit, the kit that we never finished because we weren't happy with it. If you've watched the other videos, you'll know about that. The intakes we made probably would work, but they're not going to be ideal because the turbos have moved. So the sensible thing to do is to remake those as well. We've remade the downpipes, we're going to remake the intakes. Sam also said after we'd made the intakes that he would probably like some titanium ones. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do some pie cut titanium intakes. We've got all the materials, we've got our bits and bobs. It's just going to be a case of kind of lining them all up, getting the straight sections cut, and then tacking them, checking them on the car, and welding it together. First thing I've done is get the old intake for the front turbo in the car, because I know this position's okay. This turbo hasn't really moved that much. And what I'll do is I'll use that position to set up this intake here and decide where to put this air filter. So I know it's going to go next to it here, obviously, but it's going to be getting that path right. So I've got all my pie cuts, I've got some tube. It's just going to now be a case of taping them together until we get something that looks right, and then we can get some tacks done. So first thing we need to do is get a load of pie cuts taped together so that we can start mocking up where this pipe work's going to go. So I've got the other air filter on there still, and that position will probably change a little bit because we're using a different diameter tube now. We're using 70mm. Because we've changed the position of the turbo, I can go for a bit bigger pipe, which looks a bit better. There's not really going to be any performance benefits other than it looks a bit nicer. But that'll also change the sense line radius. Getting geeky now with pipe science, I guess. But yeah, it'll change the location of this air filter a little bit. So I'm just going to start out by taping some pies together, offering it up, and seeing where we get. We want to get the air filter obviously somewhere here. Right, so I've got some pies taped up, just roughly for now. Again, I'll tighten all this up when we start tacking it. But so I think the air filter is going to go, yeah, it's basically going to go here, where it was before. And I want to get it obviously slightly up off the inner wing. I want to get it about the same angle as the other one, so I don't want it wonky. I want to get it about the same angle as the other one. So again, for now, I'm just going to kind of roughly have a bit of a measure. I'm just going to drop that in there because I've only got two hands. And I think that I'm going to want to get this exit here bang in the middle of the turret and that compressor cover. So if I put that in the middle of there, I've got four pies together here, which is going to be enough. I reckon 2.5 inch piece of straight or 3 inch at a push is probably going to be about right. So I'll cut a piece of tube now, clean it up, tack it on the end of that, or tape it on the end of there, shove it in the turbo, and then we'll start kind of looking down here and seeing if I need to change the height of it at all. So I've got my piece of straight taped on the end there, and I've just shove that in my silicone. So that's about what it'll come out at. Now I reckon I'm probably going to be able to get down there with just a straight piece of tube, which will be a lot better than how it came out last time. So I'm just going to measure. Obviously the titanium is super expensive, so I don't want to waste material. But if I cut a piece that's a bit longer than I think I'm going to need, if it doesn't work out as just a straight piece, I can then cut it up into two pieces, and yeah, I'm not going to waste as much material. So I think I cut a 6 inch piece, put it in there, yeah, see what it looks like. I think 6 inch will come out about right. So I've cut that piece, that 6 inch piece, and actually that's come out pretty perfect really. So that keeps this one nice and simple. I wanted to keep this one simple if I could, because I know this one's going to be quite complicated. I say complicated, not really, but complicated in comparison to this one, which is basically just one straight bend, basically. So, yeah, just a case of taking this one off now. Now that I've got... Leaving this one on just gave me something to straighten it up against, I guess. And now I can take this one off. No, this one's not going to get used. And I've got another coupler, which is exactly the same. That'll go on there. And now I need to make titanium fit around in there, and that's going to be quite tricky, I think. Obviously, I want to try and keep it, you know, symmetrical with this one. So it's going to be quite tight, but yeah, let's just see how we get on. Tape some pie cuts together and just see what we get to. So I've got some bits taped together. This is basically a 70-degree bend or something like that now. Something like that, nice and accurate. And I can see I'm going to struggle without making it really low to get that out of there, round and kind of across into the air filter. The centerline radius of these pie cuts is just a bit too big. So to kind of simplify it, obviously this is a kit we want to replicate and sell. I'm going to just straighten this one out so that this air filter sits like this. So then what I'll do is this one will be a lot straighter. I'll actually just add a couple of extra add a couple of bends in here to bend this filter around a bit so they sit nice and straight. Yeah, I do think it's quite important that we get it all to look right. It'll work the same whether it's straight or with bends in, doesn't really matter. But I do want to keep everything nice and symmetrical where possible. It just looks neater. It looks, you know, like it's been thought about a bit more, and you know, I've thought about this quite a lot. So yeah, getting the air filter straight is something that's quite easy to do, but does make quite a big difference aesthetically in the engine bay. Right, so I've got this one with 2 bits of straight on the end of it now and kind of positioned it where I think it'll end up going, something like that. I might end up making that straight I've put in there a little bit longer yet, not 100%, but might just bring it out just a touch. So now it's just a case of getting a bit more angle on here. So I think I'm going to cut this down. I'm going to cut about 2 inches off here, and then I'm going to put in basically just 2 pies. I think should just straighten it up nice. If I put 2 in there, that'll hopefully bring it straight with this one then. Just that, you know, this is purely an aesthetics thing at this point, but you know, these are the kinds of things that I like to do, I guess. Try and make things look nice and neat and straight. So yeah, I'm going to cut about 2 inches off here, put them pies in, probably a shorter piece of straight on the end, and then that should come right, nice and straight. Right, so I've done a bit of tweaking, lots of taping, removing tape, taping, removing tape, and then we're left with this. So I've got the air filters not parallel along the back, but parallel along each other, which I think looks better. And they're about the right height. We've got bonnet clearance and everything. Got nice clearance going through here, which is a lot more than we had before, and we've actually got bigger diameter pipe. This is 70mm or 2 3/4, which is more than big enough. We could go bigger, could go up to 3 inch, but all we're going to be doing is getting the pipe work even closer to this turbine housing, which we don't really want to do. So I'm confident enough at this that we can start welding and actually get these all tacked together. Once they're tacked together, we'll try them on the car again just to be sure, but then it's just a case of welding them all up. So I've got one of them tacked up now. Because it's titanium, it is really critical to purge it, even when we're just doing the tacks. So it makes it a bit more of a time-consuming process. But doing it this way, where everything's all taped up, it keeps it nice and sealed, so hopefully I can get a good purge without wasting loads of gas. So what I tend to do is, say, I'll just tape it up, and then I'll just slice it open with a blade if I can't peel it open. I'll put a tack, you know, peel the next bit, put another tack, peel the next bit, another tack, do it all along, and then I'll turn it over, and then I'll just kind of peel them round and do a tack on both sides. We'll try it on the car. If that's good, then we'll purge it all again once it's all cleaned, purge it all again, and then I'll put a few more tacks on, and then we'll start to weld it all up. So got them both tacked up now, just in case of giving them a quick check on the car before we commit to welding them up. Don't want to make any mistakes with these. The labour involved in you know, cutting these up and tacking them all, it's quite intensive, so yeah, we just need to just double, triple check. That should go in all the way. I want that on there. So yeah, they still fit okay, still nice and parallel. Plenty of bonnet clearance, plenty of clearance for the strut brace. Everything looks okay, so yeah, now time for a bit of a weld marathon. Right, so we've got these welded up now. It's a super time consuming process. There's obviously quite a few welds here, and you know, titanium is a bit finicky to weld. It can, you know, can be a bit more time consuming. But that's done. So what we need to do now is get them polished up. The shinier we can get them now, the better, because then when we hit it with the propane torch, you know, it just ends up being shinier. If it's not so polished, they tend to come out a bit dull, and yeah, it never looks as good, yeah, in my experience. So it's better to put the time in getting it as shiny as we possibly can, get rid of all of the colour on the welds, and just try and really get, you know, one really nice consistent colour. So yeah, quite a lot of polishing to do. So I've got these all burned up now. I think they look pretty cool. So yeah, you can really tell that it's definitely worth putting the time into polishing them. It took me about 40 minutes just to polish these two parts, and you know, it really is the case of the more time you put into polishing them, the kind of more the colour will pop out of them, and they'll, you know, they just look better in the engine bay. So yeah, just a case of putting them back on the car now. All fitted back on the car now. I'm pretty happy with how that's come out. I think, you know, considering this is meant to be a prototype set, you know, there's certain things that you kind of are happy to maybe not be the kind of final production version, and then some things that, you know, obviously you don't want to change, and this is one of those because of how, you know, the price of titanium is so high. We definitely need to get this right first time, because this will be the set that we leave on Sam's car. So yeah, I'm happy with how that's come out. Yeah, I managed to keep the air filters nice and parallel to each other, which, you know, obviously it just makes the engine bay look a little bit less messy, I always think, when, you know, things are intentionally designed that way. You know, there's not really a lot of work as such gone into designing this in comparison to like the manifolds and the downpipes, but these are, you know, getting into the kind of finishing touches now, and so I think it's always, these are the bits that you could easily rush, so yeah, we're keen not to do that. Next thing we really need to do is the boost pipes, so I think we're going to go for titanium boost pipes again as well, so yeah, watch this space. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.